So in today's KnowHow video, we're going to feature the Sabre-350. Now Record Power are well known for their BS range of bandsaws. That includes the BS 250, 300, 350 and 400. But the next evolutionary step towards getting a premium bandsaw was the Sabre range. Now at the moment within that range we've got the 350 and the 450. We're just going to quickly show you the specification of the Sabre-350 before moving on and showing the features and benefits. So the height of the Sabre-350 is 1892mm, which is just over 6'2". So then you've got the depth of cut and the throat. So the depth of cut is 285mm and the throat is 345. We've got a 1.5 horsepower motor. The machine weighs in at 116 kgs. So to look at the machine in a little bit more detail to show you the spec, we can easily open the doors, and what that reveals is the heavy duty cast iron flywheels. Obviously one of the main features is the new improved guides, which are easily accessible and obviously can be operated and adjusted without using any tools. We've also upgraded the rip fence and the fence rail, so the fence can be operated from both sides of the blade without removing and repositioning the rail. But also within the rail we've got a lot more fine adjustment to get them accurate cuts that are desired. The blades we can use on there are from a 1/4 inch up to a 3/4 inch for your different types of cut, your different thicknesses of work. And obviously what you can see is the start stop, and we've got the limit switches on both doors, so while the machine or the doors are open, obviously the machine can't be operated. We've got a quick release mechanism for changing the blades, and also a quick release mechanism for adjusting the table position. Obviously with the machine weighing in at 116 kgs, there's a lot of weight to move about, so at a later point we'll also show you the wheel kit and how that is actually put onto the machine to be used or moved around using the jockey bar wheel. So what we've done is we've actually took off the rise and fall guard, obviously isolated the machine at this point to make it nice and safe, and we will be putting the guard back on later on in the video and showing you the adjustment, but I wanted to show you this with the guard off so we could really close in on the guides and show you why they are so good. And one of the reasons they are so good is what we said earlier, is ease of use, the way they're adjusted. And if you can see now a close up, once we just loosen off with this thumb screw, the actual guides will just move out of the way or spring out of the way. So you've got the rear thrust and the two guide supports. Now these are Seal for Life bearings that are going to help and support the blade when it's in use. Now obviously there's different width blades that you can use, from 1/4 up to 3/4 on this machine, and you may have to move the whole unit back to get that fine adjustment. So you've got a ratchet angle here which loosens off, and you can take the whole unit forward and back to get you there or thereabouts on the right position for each blade. Now once you've done that, then the fine adjustment comes in by using these thumb screws and pressing them into position. We've got a 19mm blade on there, or a 3/4, and obviously the wider the blades are, the easier they are to get the supports in position because there's more room to play with. Obviously when you get down to your 1/4 or your 6mm or even less, it becomes a bit more fiddly because you've got to be careful, because what we don't want to do is damage this set, the set on the blade itself or the teeth. Now what happens with these, you've got the blade going left, right, or in a skip tooth purpose it's going left, right, central, because that's the clearing cut, that's what gets the timbers out of the way and gives you a nice clean finish. So we've roughly adjusted the guide front to back and got it in position, then what we can do is we can just bring the bearing through or push it through so we're just about there and touching. And as you rotate, you'll see that it's not actually moving the bearing. The bearing is just there for when we start with the cut and it pushes on, it's going to give it support. But when it's free running, it doesn't want to be spinning at all. And then the sides, again, we just push them in, and we want them so there's just light or just a clearance between the bearing and the blade, so that again, when you do start to rotate the blade through or the machine starts up, it's not going to actually run on the guides itself. And that's the main thing about adjusting the guide supports. It wants to be free running. The only time these are going to come into operation is when you start doing your cut and the blade starts to twist or move because of your shape work. It's then that the blade will get its support. So basically we want to be clear of the set. So in the back half or the back 2/3 of the blade is where the support's required, not at the front where the set is. But we still want them clear from the blade so that when the machine's switched on and it's free running, you haven't got any movement on there. So what I'm meaning is, and I think it might pick it up better on this one, if we're pushing onto that with the blade and we start rotating it, you can see now I've trapped the blade between the two guides. So they're going to be running all the time. And you're going to generate heat through that. And then eventually it's going to help damage your blade. So we keep that cigarette paper or a few thou, whatever sort of size you want to put it, so just see a bit of light through there. Now obviously we've done that and made it nice and easy without the guard on. The next shot you're going to see, the guard's going to be back in place and I'll show you how to adjust them. But the point with this is I wanted to open it up and get you to view and see the accuracies of this guide system, which is one of the top selling points on the Sabres. And like I said, we've got this similar situation underneath the table, so you've got support above and below, but we'll show you that in a couple of minutes. So now we've put the rise and fall guard back in place, and just to identify, you've got the left and right for your supports and the actual thrust bearing release, and then the ratchet handle there for the moving the whole unit front to back. So let's have a look at the guides underneath. So we've now come down underneath to the guides underneath the table. Obviously a bit more restricted with the light, so we've tried to help you there. And just to identify, you've got the ratchet handle, which takes the whole unit back and forward. And then we've got the rear thrust, which just loosens off and obviously springs forward and back before we lock in place. And then we've got the left and the right thrust to obviously position either side of the blade. Easily accessible from under the table, giving that extra bit of support. So now we've got it underneath and above, again with ease of use, making sure that you can set these guides accurately for the full range of blades available on this bandsaw. So I hope that's been helpful. Any more questions on your blades or your guides on the Sabres or any bandsaws in particular, please come back to us.